I first became interested in gaming when I was about in year 7. I really got into Minecraft. I loved building all the redstone contraptions and playing on online servers with my friends. And yeah, just sort of having fun in the game, building things or playing capture the flag or yeah, things like that. So in year 12, I did a project where I recreated an arcade game called Joust. You got these two characters and they're riding on these birds and they've got these jousting sticks and they run across the screen and try and hit each other, and the person who's higher up gets a point. And you play that over and over again, and then you have so many lives and you can respawn, and that's sort of how it's scored. I think JavaScript's my favorite programming language. I really enjoy the fact that you can sort of prototype as you go. You can work things out by just sort of typing it into the console, and from that you can immediately know the values of what it's outputting. You can really quickly see where things are going wrong or if it's working. So it makes it really nice to develop in. It can be a little bit painful at sometimes because its error detection isn't as good as some other programming languages, and it's not statically typed, which means that the way that the programming language works, it automatically works out what type of data you're storing in a particular object and then does so accordingly. But that can lead to some errors down the road because it's not as good at picking up on when you're trying to put a data type in something that's a completely different data type, and that can cause problems. But yeah, I think overall JavaScript is my favorite programming language. I would actually probably say no, I wouldn't recommend software engineers to become game developers, at least not in the current game industry climate. There's a lot of sort of toxic culture I've sort of heard about in the video game industry. A lot of video games, there's a lot of work that needs to go into bringing a game from the initial stage to development to production and then to release. And usually it ends up being that they don't have enough time to make it, and so it gets to a few months before release and they've still got all these things that they've got to develop, all these bugs and everything. And there's this, what they call the crunch, where they do lots and lots of development and end up having to work really long hours. They don't get to see their family or have days off as much, and they sort of work 24/7 pretty much, which is sort of very damaging and not good for your mental health. That's sort of why I wouldn't sort of recommend people go into the video game industry, but I could be wrong. I'm sure there are exceptions to that. I think my favorite video game character is probably got to be Nick Valentine from Fallout 4. He's actually like a humanoid synth robot. So he's like an artificial intelligence sort of thing, but he's been imbued with the personality of a old-timey cop. And so he goes around as a detective and solves all these mysteries, and you can sort of team up with him to solve mysteries and you go on adventures together. He's got a pretty cool backstory. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite video game character. The best video game console, in my opinion, would have to be PC. The fact that you can play lots of older games on PC is really good. If you get a PS5, you can only play games that are made for PS5. But if you get a PC, you can play games that could be up to 20 or 30 years old. There's a huge catalog. You can get lots of good deals. So I think that's probably the reasons I like playing on PC.